what's your tip if you want to like a cutaway? Stand there and just straight on, or?
Well, give me a couple. You know, climb from there.
But do you like it like a pan,
But
or
hold-
just like hold it,
Hold it, then pan, then come back here.
5-second hold is enough?
Yeah. I sit there anywhere.
Are you Darren?
Yeah.
Hi, nice to meet you. Good. How are you?
Yeah, but there's nobody else here.
Amazing.
They said 10:05.
Thank you. These are up.
We did on that one,
Water there for you. Yeah, it's great.
but we only have one other person here, so that might be wrong. Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah, in case you didn't know, that is the speaking order.
Yeah.
You know.
We have time.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Good, how are you? Doing okay. Yeah. We're all having sleep. Oh, yeah. So you know this is the speak order. Hey.
Hi, just taking names,
Yeah, maybe.
nothing,
This is the speaker.
Mayor Gordon. And Mayor Tom?
yeah, I could.
I think you can move this way.
Okay. Yeah.
One of our reporters said everything yesterday. I gave him,
Okay.
you know what, so sorry on that, on that person's behalf.
It's okay, no, it's fine.
It was just,
It happens all the time.
It made me chuckle because you and I just had this conversation, right? And then one of our people.
Okay.
It happens all the time.
Good morning, everyone. We're ready to get rolling here. Thank you all for coming. We have with us today Regional District Central Okanagan Chair Loyal Wooldridge, BC Wildfire Service Jerrad Shroeder, Chief Jason Brolund from the west side, and Chief Travis Whiting from Kelowna, Chief Darren Lee from Lake Country, and Ross Kocherovsky from Northwest Side Fire and Rescue. So we're going to begin with Chair Wooldridge, and we'll take it down the list from there.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I would like to take the time to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you today from the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Syilx Okanagan people who have resided here since time immemorial. Thank you for being here to share this information with everyone. This will be our third press conference regarding the wildfire events faced here in the Central Okanagan. As noted, my name is Loyal Wooldridge, and I'm the chairperson of the Regional District Central Okanagan, and this organization leads the Emergency Operations Center. We know that people are anxious for information, so I want to express my appreciation to members of the media and all of our subject matter experts for being here today to share this information with you all. Joined with me also is Kelowna Mayor Tom Dias and West Kelowna Mayor Gordon Milsom, also the Vice Chair of the RDCO, who will be available for questions following the press conference today. It's been a challenging few days, but based on the briefings from the incredible team at the Emergency Operations Center, I'm happy to report that we've made progress on the fire. From our experts today, you'll hear that the weather has been cooperating with us and that we've been able to make progress overnight, but we still have a long fight ahead of us. Today, you'll hear from BC Wildfire Service and the local fire chiefs leading the charge. Then we'll go into greater detail about the conditions we're faced with overnight and the current status of the fires and what we can expect over the next 24 hours. This progress is being achieved because of the courage and dedication of those around this table, their teams, and the resources and support that we've received regionally, provincially, and federally. Local leaders have discussed our needs with Premier Eby, the Federal Minister Harjit Sajjan, and Provincial Minister of Emergency Management Bowen Ma. We've requested that the province and federal government have taken action, and they have. Before I wrap up, I want to make a brief comment about recovery because there have been questions. We are actively planning for what's known as structure loss reporting, recovery efforts, and return to home. We'll continue to prioritize sharing this information as soon as it's available after it's safe to visit those impacted areas, as we're currently in active wildfires. We're committed to continuing these briefings to ensure that people know about our firefighting efforts and recovery process, and I'll pass this on to the subject matter experts for the briefings for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor, for Chair Wooldridge. Next up is BC Wildfire Service, Jerrad Shroeder.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for the thanks and the introduction. In further support to yesterday's comments, the overnight period and yesterday's firefighting activities, they were favorable. It was a good day for us to fight fire here in the central Okanagan yesterday. That's not to take away from the challenges that all of our responders and everybody else engaged in firefighting operations faced. We are still dealing with the lingering conditions of smoke in the valley, particularly thick in the mornings, and hopefully we expect that to lift or at least ease a little bit in the afternoon to free up space for our aviation and rotary wing assets to continue the fight and to continue to support our firefighting efforts on the ground. In the overnight period, a lot of the fire behavior that we did see was more of that intensity class 2 fire behavior, very manageable for crews. There was good work, good effort made by all BC Wildfire and our partnering agency crews on all of our fires in the Grouse complex, so that includes both fires on the east side of the lake and McDougall fire here. Reports back have all been positive. Some real wins were had yesterday as well, in that we were able to get a good foothold on establishing some control lines with the utilization of heavy equipment. What that also meant is that in the overnight period, our overnight crews were able to work off of those control lines and beginning the process of establishing black line with the equipment they have in support and with the support of our partner agencies and our structural departments to kind of get like that real firefighting effort started. Not just here on the south end of the fire within the community, but also on the north end and west side within the interface up there. We've started to see some real good progress as well. We do have an updated size. It is 11,000 hectares here for the McDougall fire. We are anticipating that to be larger. That is still an estimate, but that is reflective of growth over the last 24-hour period. Better mapping is coming, but again, due to the smoke, which is quite heavy, it is quite thick, it is difficult to get an absolutely accurate kind of, at the micro scale, perimeter map for an updated size for our fire here. Going forward here in the coming days, we're expecting more of this seasonality with the mid-20s kind of temperatures. Humidities have come up a bit, especially in that overnight period, which has been a real benefit to us for the work that we're doing. So we're expecting at least in the next 24 to 36 hours, more the same in regards to those kind of really good firefighting days, which is great. Additional resources continue to pour in from a BC Wildfire Service point of view. And I do want to express some real gratitude to the almost 500 individuals that we have, to the women and the men on this incident that are directly tied to the incident management team, but also to the hundreds and the thousands as well that are outside of an incident command structure that are supporting us, whether you're in reception centers, you're managing road blockades, or simply just volunteering your time and supporting those who are affected here in the central Okanagan. Your work is appreciated. Your support to our staff is absolutely appreciated. And it warms my heart when I see and when I hear from our staff when they roll in at night or when they roll in early in the morning at the end of a night shift to see not just satisfaction, and particularly to last night in their efforts from a good firefighting day, but also from just some of the sentiments they're getting from members of the public at large and the residents here in this valley. It's been almost quite very emotional for me to kind of be a part of that and to hear it and feel it from our staff. So thank you to everybody for your patience, your resiliency, and your courage as well. It's not just the courage of our first responders that counts here, but everybody else here in the central Okanagan. That's it for BC Wildfire.
Thank you, Jerrad Shroeder from BC Wildfire Service. Next up, we have Chief Jason Brolund from West Kelowna Fire Chief.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're now 4 days in. It feels like months, but things are looking better. We are finally feeling like we're moving forward rather than we're moving backwards, and that's a great feeling for all of us to have. In saying that, make no mistake, there will be difficult days ahead, and we are continuing to prepare and address those. Not necessarily firefighting days, although there's lots of hard work to do, but beginning to talk about recovery and how we move beyond that. I say things are looking up for two reasons. The first is that for the last 3 operational periods, we've been able to do what we call regular firefighting. The conditions have allowed us to get right out to the control lines that have been constructed by the Wildfire Service. They've let us get boots on the ground and go in and dig and put water where water needs to be. We haven't been challenged with extraordinary fire behavior that necessitated extraordinary suppression. We're dealing with things like we're used to seeing. However, we are dealing with them on an epic scale, and there is 1 million points of fire still out there across our community. So we're going to need some time, and it's going to take an extraordinary effort to deal with that. The second reason why things are really looking up is that help continues to arrive for us. It was mentioned that there are close to 500 firefighters on the org chart today. That is a massive, massive operation. And as it's built out, we get to start doing massive things with it as well. The number of structural fire departments that are here helping us continues to grow, as well as the BC Wildfire operation. The public should also take great comfort, as I did this morning, with the arrival of Canada Task Force 1. Yesterday, I requested this heavy urban search and rescue team be deployed to the central Okanagan. This is a national asset, and I wish to thank the Government of Canada, Public Safety Canada, Emergency Management and Climate Readiness BC, and the City of Vancouver for providing this asset of an incredible number of trained professionals. There'll be up to 50 of them on the ground. I briefed the first wave that arrived this morning, and this team brings incredible expertise and horsepower to our operation and will do for us some very difficult things. Their mission is to help us stabilize the incident, to conduct searches and rapid damage assessment. The powerful thing about that team is that they are self-sufficient and they are able to deploy without any impact to our community or existing operation. It consists of professionals from the Vancouver Fire Rescue Service, the Vancouver Police Department, engineers from the City of Vancouver, advanced life support paramedics from the BC Ambulance Service, engineers, physicians, and numerous technical experts who all come as a package. And I am just incredibly happy to report who are already on the ground at this moment. Yesterday I told everyone that we were making a plan, and today I can tell you that that plan is being executed. These teams are out in the neighborhoods. They are conducting an inventory of properties that have been lost and damaged. They are conducting search operations where we need to have search operations conducted. They are helping us to stabilize utilities that need to be shut off and what we need to do to make the neighborhoods safe. But it's going to be a big chunk of work. I'm also happy to report a part of this group's work will be search. However, we do not have any reports of missing persons at this time. So as this data starts to stream in from the field, the planning work is underway on how we'll begin to report on the numbers of loss and how we commence notifications to the people who have experienced loss. That is going to be a very difficult process, both logistically and emotionally. I understand it's tough news to receive, and with technology, some people may already, be aware of what happened, but we're going to do our best with that. For those that are evacuated, I need to ask for your continued and ongoing patience, particularly around emergency support services and the provision of those. I understand that there is a significant wait for people to register and receive ESS support. The queue is long for people to register, but we're taking steps to try and improve that, including providing real-time information on which groups are being registered. I'll share with the public that my family is in the same line that you are, and we are standing there with you to complete that registration process. So please be patient with that. So from the field, it is actually an eerie feeling out there. I've been in your neighborhood. There is a real quiet that has descended on the community. The neighborhoods are empty. People left when we asked them to. There's a peace and calm out there that is brought about because of the lack of wind and the smoke that's there. But that peace and calm has allowed us to get out there and start hitting these hotspots and work off of those areas. Some of you have lost your homes. There's no question about that, but most of you have survived. There are lots of backyards where the fire has come right to your patio furniture, and it's been stopped there because of the work of the 500 people that are on the ground fighting it. So I want to acknowledge some of those people. It's not just the firefighters. We have had an incredible response and support from our public works and utilities who are running around turning off water so that we have the flows that we need in reservoirs. The staff from BC Hydro and Fortis have worked tirelessly to turn off your utilities, but in many cases turn them on again so that we can have the power to do what we need. The Conservation Officer Service, for example, has manned roadblocks along with the RCMP, which has been incredibly powerful. And yesterday I spoke about it, but I want to highlight it again. The pilots of the aircraft that are flying out there have made an indescribable difference to the firefight that's taken place. I'm feeling like what we have to do going forward is overwhelming, but we're taking it one small bit at a time, and I encourage the public to do the same. We've got an incredible team in place, and that team is building. I'm the first one who gets to speak, but this group of fire chiefs that's sitting here alongside me today, Chief Whiting, Chief Lee, and Chief Kocharovsky, I wouldn't want to be standing aside anyone else other than these gentlemen. They've all experienced what on any normal day would be a significant event in their community. And it just so happens that it's been overshadowed because it's happened to all of us at the same time on a massive scale. So I want to give credit to them and say that how proud I am to serve alongside them. Our departments work seamlessly together, and this is not something you may see across the fire service. The other night, Chief Whiting sent his trucks to help my community, and they were engaged in the firefight in West Kelowna. But he had a fire in his community that I know he dreaded happening. And the powerful thing was, while his trucks were in West Kelowna fighting a fire, my trucks went to Kelowna and fought the fire there. And it's only because our departments train the same way, we work the same way, and we have relationships that we could make something like that happen. We have access to resources on an unprecedented scale now. The challenge is we just need time, and that's what we're working through. We're evaluating the evacuation orders that are in place. As soon as we put them in, we start talking about when we could take them off. And we've done that in great detail this morning already. However, we're not prepared to lift the evacuation orders within the city of West Kelowna or Westbank First Nation at this point. It's not going to happen today. I realize that means another night out of your homes and inconvenience as we lead into the work week for sure. But I ask you to bear with us. As I noted the other day, cooperate, work together, be strong and be safe, and we're all in this together. We will work through it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Jason Brolund, West Kelowna Fire Department. And next up is Chief Travis Whiting from Kelowna Fire Department.
Good morning. I think Chief Brolund covered a lot of the same situation that we're seeing on this side of the lake. Definitely it's a day where we can take a deep breath and make really strategic objectives, achievable objectives, and really make some headway on what we're working on, as opposed to the reaction that we've been through in the last couple of days. So similar to Chief Brolund, we saw decreased activity overnight. We did have some flare-ups, and the crews were actively engaged in firefighting, but it has really subsided this morning. And I can tell you, when I was at the staging post this morning, my hands were cold, which was a good sign. So we're going to take advantage of today and tomorrow, which we know are looking like similar weather pattern, to really try and get a handle on protection of neighborhoods and homes. And crews this morning were deployed out with a mission to seek and destroy any perimeter fire around structures. So what that means is, as the fire has crept down into the neighborhoods, we'll be going from neighborhood to neighborhood and working directly behind homes while the fire has subsided a bit, to cool off and extinguish any fire on the perimeter of homes, to create a guard and help bolster the defenses. We got lots of summer left, lots of time left. These days of putting these defenses in will be critical in the long run, and we're very excited to have the opportunity to get this work done. And crews are optimistic and in good spirits heading out today, because we've got some really critical objectives that are going to be met today and tomorrow that will have a big impact. The smoke layer, as much as it is tough, does help and reduce the sun's intensity, and is playing a role in this for us. So it's getting good that way. In our area, we will be looking today, tomorrow, and the next day to connect with people who have been impacted, so we can start the process of confirming with people the impacts to their own personal properties. So we'll be going through that process. I guess the only other thing I would say, as much as we work through today and tomorrow and into the next couple of days to bolster defenses and to do the works that we can in anticipation of any changes in weather coming up, it's also a great time for the residents in our communities to take the time as well to make a plan, get a kit, be ready for any changing conditions that might happen, and also to look around your own neighborhoods and homes for those on alert, or even other parts of the community, to ensure that you've taken the time to follow fire smart principles. We do have a lot of summer left. I am very happy with where we're sitting today, but I don't want people to think that the season's over. I want us to take the time now while we can to do what we can to prepare for the next 30 days. Other than that, again, as Chief Brolund mentioned, we're all joined at the hip at the fire service level between BC Wildfire and all the structural departments. And it's a very big joint effort of shared resources, and we're really optimistic of what's going to happen over today and tomorrow as far as preparing those defenses. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Travis Whiting from Kelowna Fire Department. Next up, we have Chief Darren Lee from the District of Lake Country Fire Department.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here. I just want to start off with an apology. We're pretty busy yesterday, so I wasn't able to make it in for this event. Just more pressing matters. I had to support my team in defending. We were really busy defending obviously the District of Lake Country and working, hand in hand with the Kelowna Fire Department to protect both the south end of Lake Country and the north end of the city of Kelowna. So it was a great effort by all. I kind of wanted to start off by just thanking, sorry, it's been a long few days. I just want to congratulate all our firefighters. For thousands of years, just regular people step up to be warriors, to protect their villages, protect their neighbors, and there's people out there working 36, 48-hour shifts, and they take an absolute beating. They know their family's being evacuated while they're trying to defend their neighbor's home, and they just keep going. They work under incredibly dangerous conditions. One of my firefighters asked me today about some safety concerns, and I'm like, hey, you just gotta learn from it and move on. You're better today than you were yesterday. And let's just keep going and keep on it. I am so grateful from the support from not just our firefighters in Lake Country, but working with our regional partners. But I'll just quick story. A couple weeks ago, I had the opportunity to support the town of Osoyoos when they had their own very significant event. And actually some of those very same people were with us in Lake Country and were saving homes in Lake Country not more than 2 weeks later. And it's these great relationships that we forge with our friends at the Vernon Fire Zone, the Kamloops Fire Center, obviously all the regional departments that make all this work. We're gonna continue to be at it. I feel like I really appreciate Chief Whiting's comments. We got a little more stable last night. We're definitely not out of the woods. We're going to hold on our evac orders and alerts for now, and we'll continue to harden around the structures. I think through the efforts and the changing weather conditions, the winds lightening up, we've had a lot of real success, and I'm really grateful for all that effort, and we're making the best of this opportunity by throwing a ton of resources at this fire today. One couple of things. We know this is emotional for folks in our communities. We're connected to it too. We have people living at the fire hall while their families are evacuated. There's some RVs in the fire hall parking lot. There's tents set up in classrooms and things like that, and we're making it work. I'm really, really looking forward to today. I think this is a day to make some good progress. The plan's really starting to come together. We're moving out of that initial attack stage into more sustained action, and it's a really coordinated effort with a lot of good intel and a lot of great expertise, not only in the EOC, but we haven't really mentioned the incident management team and all the fire behavior analysts, weather folks that help support the action plan to keep our people safe, and we have really good intel, like spot forecasts and things like that. So I just had, I know Chief Whiting kind of did mention the Fire Smart principles, and I really appreciate that. We need a little bit of help in Lake Country. Specifically, I don't want to speak to the other communities. If you're on alert or you're on the periphery of the alert, we just ask that you please don't run your sprinklers. If you do happen to go onto order, we'll use your sprinklers, we'll turn them on, we'll do our best to do that. But all that extra irrigation right now is really stressing our water system. So that was one thing our operations folks wanted me to ask, and so I just want to be really clear. If you left your sprinklers on, the firefighters will manage them, they'll keep them on. But if you're just on alert or you're sort of on the periphery of alert, just please don't run your sprinklers. We need to use that water to defend your neighbors' homes that are in immediate danger. So I'd be happy to take some questions after, and I appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you, Chief Darren Lee, District of Lake Country Fire Department. Next up, we have Chief Ross Kresarowski from the Northwest Side Fire Rescue and RDCO Fire Services Advisor. Who's online?
Thank you and good morning. There's not much more that I can say that the chiefs haven't already said, but I do want to say this, and one of the other chiefs said it best. We are an army, and we truly are. All working together as one big team, and it's truly inspirational, and it's keeping our members going. I can't thank everybody enough for all the support that we've received from all the organizations, all the fire crews that have come into the area to support all the chiefs and the support that they've given me. I can't thank all you guys enough. Yesterday and last night, winds were calm, which was amazing, especially during an event like this. This allowed crews to get ahead of the fire rather than just chasing us north like it did the last few days. Crews alongside BC Wildfire Service fire-smarted homes, put out hotspots while air support hit the fire. Sprinklers were also added to homes that were close to the fire edge on the north and west side road. Today, crews on the north will continue to do the same with an additional 2 task forces that will be added to our group. Just want to remind all the public out there, so this type of event is a marathon, and I have to continue to ask for everybody else's patience, understanding how hard this must be for everybody. And how hard it must be not knowing the condition of your home and the condition of your friends and your neighbors. But I want everybody to know that we will do our best to get you in here as soon as it's safe, or get you the information that you need as soon as it's safe. I currently feel comfortable with the evacuation orders and alerts that we have up West Side Road. So in the foreseeable future, please be patient with that as well. I don't foresee adding more, but that may be the case. But I currently don't want to lift what we have in place, just in case we see aggressive fire behavior. West Side Road is very tough. It's one way to the north, one way to the south, and I just have to guarantee everybody's safety, so please be patient. As mentioned already, assessment are starting very, very soon, and we will hopefully have the answers for everybody very, very soon. Thank you, that's it for me.
Thank you, Chief Ross Kuczorowski from Northwest Side Fire and Rescue and RDCO Fire Services Advisor. That's it for the formal presentations, and now we'll open things up for media questions. People in the room, reporters in the room, you can step up to the podium and ask your questions, and we'll alternate between in-person and online. Just put your hand up online, and we'll get to you right after that. Do we have any questions for RDCO Chair Loyal Woolridge? Do we have any questions for BC Wildfire Service Chief Jerrad Shroeder?
Yeah.
Hi, Cindy White from Castanet. We just did an update on the weather. We are expecting some wind in the next few days. Your thoughts on that? Is the cooler temperature is going to help mitigate that wind?
Yeah, the cooler temperatures will help mitigate the effects of the wind. But again, and this has been the conversation throughout the summer and really throughout the spring as well, is that we are and we remain in these critically extremely drought conditions. All of our fire weather indice values are at the extreme or upper echelons of their values. So moderated temperatures coupled with high winds will still have impacts. The orientation of this valley still means that a lot of the downslope and valley driven type winds will have impacts. But again, luckily with the more moderated temperatures in that kind of mid-20 range, and we are seeing these higher humidities, that does have a positive impact as well. So while the winds do remain a concern, it won't be like what it's been for what initially drove these fires in the first place. It will be moderated, but again, certainly it's not lost on us that winds will remain an impact going forward.
Thank you, Chief Shroeder. I see there's a question online.
Hi, Jordan Tucker. If your question is for BC Wildfire, you can unmute your mic and ask your question. We're unable to hear you. If you type your question in the chat, Jordan, I can ask it for you, and I'll go back to Tom to get a question from the room.
Me?
Oh, we're sorry. Okay, let's go to Claudia Van Emmerich from Global News will get us her question typed up. Claudia?
Thank you. Jerrad, we keep talking or hearing in this room today that weather conditions are more favorable, that we're making some progress. Is it still far too early to know if the fire or how far we are from deeming this fire held?
Yeah, and that's a fair question. It is. It is still very much dynamic. There's still portions of this fire that we just have not prioritized. Our direct response priority has been for the protection and defense of properties and that critical infrastructure. That is our priority as an incident. And that means that we've been working jointly with all of the chiefs here on this incident in our unified command structure. So that has been the primary focus. There are parts of this fire that are not engaged at an interface level that have impacted homes and whatnot. So while it is a priority, and in the last probably 12 hours, we have bolstered our ranks within the incident command structure, and with additional positions as resources continue to stream in to the central Okanagan to support us here, and that we are getting more of the technical specialists that are helping us to begin the process of strategic planning going into the next couple of days and into next week, where we can expand out and start looking at getting this fire to a held state. But for now, the priority does remain here at the interface level across all of these incidents.
Thank you, Chief Shroeder. Do we have Jordan's question?
Not yet. We can take another question
Okay.
from the room while we wait.
Anyone else have questions for Chief Shroeder? Okay, thank you, Chief. We'll move to Chief Jason Brolund. Anybody have questions for?
Sorry, Tom, we just got the question in here.
Okay.
If we can have Jerrad go back up. Wonderful, thank you. So this question is from Jordan Tucker from CBC Radio 1. So 2 questions for BC Wildfire. 1, we've heard reports of airline, hotels, Airbnb, and other businesses refusing to refund people for canceled reservations in restricted travel zones. What are those messages to those businesses? That's our first question.
That's not a question for BC Wildfire. I would redirect those questions to either the vendors themselves. That's not a question for BC Wildfire, sorry.
Thank you. We can move to the next speaker.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chief Shroeder. And Chief Jason Brolund. Anybody have questions for Chief Brolund? Claudia?
Yes. I have 2 questions. Jason, can you tell us if more homes were lost overnight?
In the last 24 hours, we have not lost any additional structures.
Okay. Are we getting any military support, any soldiers coming from Edmonton?
I'm probably not the one to answer that question. I'd look to somebody from the EOC to provide that answer.
Yeah, we have not heard about that at the EOC yet, so it could, who knows, it could be in the works, but not at this moment.
Thanks.
Hi, Jason. Yesterday we talked about some objectives you had yesterday. How are you feeling about where you got on those?
Yeah, the weather has allowed us to make progress. We were able to conduct more traditional firefighting techniques like digging guards, putting out hotspots at deeper levels into the urban interface. So we're feeling good about the objectives that we set yesterday. We're feeling better about the level of fire suppression that we're able to take on, but we're also now able to do it on a much bigger scale because of all of the resources that we have on the ground. So if conditions hold as they are, we're going to start to see real progress being made in a measurable way, and that finally is a bit of a glimmer of hope for us.
Thank you. Haley, do we have another question from Jordan for Chief Brolund?
No, we do not at this time.
Okay. Okay.
Richard Zussman, Global News. Jason, can you give people a sense of what the timing may be as if evacuations get lifted, they can go back to the neighborhood to temper expectations about what kind of work needs to be done for water lines or electrical lines, structure evaluation, as you mentioned. How long does all of that take, and what could that mean for people getting back into their homes?
So we have an entire team of people engaged at the Emergency Operations Center who is looking at recovery and re-entry planning. There are many neighborhoods in our community where we asked you to evacuate and you haven't been affected by the fire whatsoever. The fire may not have even come close to your home. The return for evacuees will not be the same as the exit. We will look to return people in much smaller groups in areas where we can deem that it's safe to do so. But there may be other factors at play as well. For example, in some of these neighborhoods, to protect the health and safety of the firefighters, we needed to turn the power off so that we could get past down power lines, for example. And that may have other effects on your home, such as food in your refrigerator, for example. So we need to prepare for these things and stage the re-entry. We need to ensure that before we let you come home, either the utilities are turned back on or you're aware of why they're not turned on and that you're returning, in that case, to no power, for example. In other places where the fire has come close to your homes, we need to make sure that the fire is out around your homes so that you're not at risk. And of course, in areas where there's been damage or loss, we need to work to secure those properties and make it safe for people to come back who, quite frankly, some may be coming back to nothing.
Any other questions for Chief Brolund in the room? Online, here's a question.
No, nothing on the line.
Okay. Okay. Next up, if anyone has questions for Chief Travis Whiting from Kelowna. Cindy, yeah.
Good morning. We have a question actually from one of our readers for an update on the fire at the landfill.
Yeah, sure. I've actually just been getting some more information on that. So we're evaluating the landfill fires right now. We do have assets in there doing some work. We're having really good progress. Really happy with what's happening there. Obviously, we'll probably have smoke from there for a while, but we're looking to see what the level of risk that's presided from that, so we can make determinations on things like Quail Ridge and that type of stuff. So we're very actively engaged in that conversation right now. I'm happy with the situation at the landfill at this current time, and really optimistic that we'll have continued success there through the day.
Just one more. I was out yesterday, hardly any vehicles on the road. I saw a few more today. Are you still asking people to just stay home if possible?
People have been great. It's been a lot of cooperation with the public in allowing us to move around. We have a ton of assets and fire trucks from across the region, and our ability to move through the areas has been excellent. So I do appreciate the way the residents have helped us by staying out of the way and cooperating. And so yeah, we've had no issues reported around those types of traffic control issues over the last 24 hours for sure.
Thank you, Chief Whiting. Anybody else? Questions for Chief Whiting? No? All right, we'll move on to Chief Darren Lee, District of Lake Country. Anybody got questions for Chief Lee? Anything else to add, Chief?
No questions?
No one else is going to ask that.
We have one question.
Structural loss.
Sure.
Can you paint us a picture of how many homes we may be talking about in what areas?
Right now, I don't have a full picture of numbers. We had a pretty solid night, so I don't believe any other homes were damaged overnight. I think that we also had a reconnaissance flight yesterday, but we weren't able to fly the lake side of the fire due to the amount of air traffic. There was large air tankers and large helicopters working the fire. So I'd say there's several structures, but by and large, we just didn't experience the same firefight that we saw in West Kelowna and on West Side Road due to the changing wind conditions. So while it was tough and arduous, I think I count ourselves very lucky with the weather. And again, it's the effort and the professionalism of all the firefighters and the amount of support we did have from, initially City of Kelowna, District of Peachland. I don't want to miss Ellison was in there initially, then we were reinforced by Penticton, Osoyoos, Vernon, and now there's too many departments to even name. And that's just awesome help for us. So I would say I don't want to sound insensitive and consider ourselves lucky, but we did get very fortunate with the weather.
Can you elaborate on any particular areas that houses have been lost? And the mayor mentioned yesterday gawkers on roads and on the lake. Is that people watching? Is that better?
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll hit the fire one first, and I'll try and come back to that second one. So areas that I think were most affected by fire was Okanagan Center, and for those that know Lake Country, it's quite steep country in there. So going from Lake Okanagan up to what is now considered, I consider it the Greater Lakestone subdivision. So fire continuously wants to run up the drainages. So you have a spot fire start in Okanagan Center, and then it runs uphill rapidly and impacts the back doors of homes along Okanagan Center, Nighthawk and Hare Road. So some homes were damaged in there, but I don't believe we have any total losses. And I do know of some large damage down in Okanagan Center. And the reason I'm not trying to sound cryptic or anything, it's just that part of the fire is very unstable. So I don't know what we might, what's still under immediate threat and what we have to work around to keep those ones safe.
Can we take one question from the line here, Tom?
Oh, sorry, and I missed the boat part, Tom, if I could just finish the boat part.
Sure.
So I have to admit, like, we're sort of hyper-focused on the structure protection. I know the Mayor Ireland spoke to that yesterday. I didn't, and then when I work with our partners at the RCMP and particularly the Lake Country Detachment, is we're more talking about access control issues and stuff that I know that with wildfire, with the incident management team and the EOC, they're handling the boat traffic. But I haven't had, like, no one told me that was an issue so far this morning that I've heard of. Sorry, Tom.
No, thank you. Thanks, Steve. Andrew, there's a question online.
Yeah, can I have Catherine from Radio Canada unmute and ask her question? Hi Catherine, I see you're unmuted and unfortunately we're not able to hear you. So if you can type your question in the chat, I can ask it. And then we will move back into questions from Phil in the room.
Yeah, I've just had a chance to see some.
Second, please, your mic's not on. It's kind of, there you go.
How long have I spent in the electronic industry? When the light is red, it works. I've had an opportunity to see some online imaging at where the Clifton fire is, but more to the point where the Lake Country fire is. Is it out of line to think that those two fires might merge in the same way they did at Adams Lake? Is that any part of the conversations and what you're thinking ahead to?
You want to take that? I think I can have it. I would say, for all intents and purposes, on the ground they are merged. One of my deputy chiefs is working shoulder to shoulder with an assistant chief from City of Kelowna. There's a very small gap between the two. There's spot fires kind of in that, if you want to talk about the new McKinley Beach subdivision, and then sort of south of Lakestone. There's some older homes in there, older subdivision, but right now that's all being managed, I would say, seamlessly. But in terms of physical merging, I don't think that's really, but it's within a kilometer or two of each other. And when I personally observed the aircraft working, the helicopter coordinator or Helco is directing bucket drops or on both sort of in that general area. So they're working both. It's basically and essentially it's a seamless operation.
Okay.
So hopefully that helps, Phil.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Oh, we have
question? Do we have another question for Chief Lee? Nope. Okay. We're going to move to, thank you, Chief Jerrad Lee, District of Lake Country Fire Department. And we'll move to any questions for Chief Ross Kotrovsky from the Northwest Side Fire and Rescue and RDCO Fire Services Advisor. Cindy.
Hi, Ross. How are you feeling out there? Are you feeling isolated, or are you feeling like you're connected to everyone?
Yeah, so I really don't feel isolated. I can truly say that. All the chiefs are in constant contact with me. The Emergency Operations Center is in constant contact with me, and we get the support that we need out here.
Great, thank you, Chief. Any other questions? Chief Kotrovsky. Okay, we do have Mayors Tom Dias and Gordon Wilson in the room here too, if you have any questions for them.
Hi Tom, over here. Sorry, it's Haley.
Oh.
We do just have two questions that came in a bit late on the line. So one of them is related to what Chief Brolund spoke about with the Canadian Task Force 1. So if I can have Chief Brolund go up and I'll ask that question to him, and then we do have one other question for Chair Woolbridge. So the question on the line is from Radio Canada, and they are asking, how can the presence of Canadian forces help you on the ground, referencing that they just learned about the Canada Task Force 1 intervention team.
So just for clarity, Task Force 1 is not a military group. Although they are a national asset, it's made up of firefighters, police officers, paramedics, and other civilian experts from primarily the Lower Mainland. This group is a powerhouse. They possess technical expertise that we desperately need in a number that will allow us to get out on the ground quickly and safely. And they do it in a way that they do not put any additional pressure on our community in terms of they are self-sufficient, so their lodging, accommodations, food, water, all of that comes with them. So it is a very powerful force for us in an area where we need that right now, and that is about getting out on the ground in the neighborhoods, doing the damage assessment, search that may be required, and reporting that information back to us so that we can start to provide it out.
Wonderful, thank you, Chief Brolund. And if I can have Chair Woolbridge step up for a question, and the other mayors in the room may also want to speak to this. Thank you, Chair Woolbridge. So we're just going to go back to the question from Jordan Tucker with CBC Radio 1. She's asking that they've heard reports of airlines, hotels, Airbnbs, and other businesses refusing to refund people for canceled reservations in restricted travel zones. What are your messages to those businesses?
Thank you for the question. The bottom line here, and as we've heard today, is we're not out of the woods yet. And we need folks to be responding with compassion and understanding during this time in these emergency events. Many of us were down at Prospera Place last night meeting with evacuees and volunteers, and we currently have people sleeping on cots in an arena. And that just speaks to the dire need of mass accommodation at this time. In speaking with Minister Ma, the intention of the order that was issued yesterday is to limit essential travel only to wildfire-affected areas. And that includes the central Okanagan. So what we're looking for are commercial accommodations like hotels and motels, and that is being managed with the province through the Hotel and Motel Association. Refund requests should be made through those individual vendors and companies, and I believe all elected officials would implore them to respond with compassion and understanding. And I would look to my colleagues if they have anything else to add regarding that at all. Okay, I'm getting nods around the table, so thank you so much for the question.
Okay, I think unless there's more questions, Richard has one.
Yeah, it was going to be for Mayor Dias, but any of you can answer around this issue of, have you seen, what are you hearing from accommodation sector? Have people been leaving hotels? Have we started to see this happen? And what do you say around the issue of clearly tourism operators count on this time and they are losing a lot out of what we're experiencing through this. What is the message to those providers? Have there been any conversations with the province or the federal government about support for them yet? And what, on the flip side, may be said as we try to get back to normalcy as we, look towards the future?
Richard, thank you for the question. And I think a lot of it goes to what the chiefs were saying to us today. It is extremely important that we're able to move around the community in a very efficient way. And for us to have, people who are trying to, or tourists being in our community at this particular point in time, the province made a statement that they just felt, our city is not showing the best that it possibly can at this point in time. We're in an emergency situation, so we're just requesting that, you take that into consideration and look at coming back and visiting us at another time when we do show our best. There are a number of restaurants, there's a number of areas that are having to close just because of the staffing. With respect to reimbursement, I think what we're asking is that all vendors, be it hotels, be it Airbnbs, be it wherever they're affected, is to be compassionate and take into consideration how you would want to be dealt with in this particular situation and deal with your clientele in that very same way. There is nothing on a provincial level. The initial response was to deal, as the chiefs have said, is to deal with the requirements around the fire, and that's where the focus is. The other requests that we will speak to the province about will be at a later time, but the lens needs to be very focused on basically making sure that people are safe and as mentioned, as many structures are saved as possible. And to the tourists, we obviously are a community that has a great economic impact for our whole region. As I said, we're just not showing our best right now, but we will again. So we just asked you to please give us that consideration and come back at that time that we do show our best.
Thanks, Mayor Dias. Okay, we're going to wrap it up now. Chiefs need to get back to work, and if you have any other questions, perhaps we can do that outside of the room.
One more.
Okay, we'll do one more.
I don't know who this goes to, but can anybody give me a sense of the number of out-of-market rigs, the trucks and so on, and out-of-market bodies? Chief, you sort of mentioned that you've got this army at your disposal. What does it look like? How big is that army? Is it 400? Is it 500? Is it 45 rigs, 50 rigs? And I don't know who would ask for that number.
Bill, I think we're going to give our fire chiefs a minute to discuss that, and we'll answer that question for you after.
Okay, not a problem. I'm not asking this question that I'm expecting it to become a part of the overall. I didn't want everybody to leave without being able to say, can anybody tell me?
We can tell you, and certainly the incident management structure can provide specific numbers when it comes to apparatus and individuals who are, if this is what you're looking for, who works with BC Wildfire, who's responding, who's working from West Kelowna, so on and so forth. But an overall rundown, we've got just about 500, as we said, assigned specifically under the incident command structure. That number is going up, roughly. And the numbers going up here as well. We've got just under 150 of those are BC Wildfire Service personnel. Across the board, a significant number of structure protection personnel, well around 100, and fire department firefighters would make up the rest. But for specifics, I would suggest reaching out to the incident command structure info team, and they could answer that question in much better detail than we can here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one final thing, water bombers. The inability of water bombers to fly, to be in the air. I know what helicopters can do, but you have not been able to access what I see as a very powerful tool, which is the water bombers. Has this fight been extended because of the inability of them to perform as they would normally?
I would suggest that their ability to perform is always excellent. Unfortunately, they are limited by visual flight rules,
Right,
which is
yeah.
impacted directly by smoke. There's also terrain and topography things to consider as well. And on top of that, achievable objectives. So when we've been able to fly them safely and they have objectives that can be met, be it emergent or be it in support of structural protection assets or wildland assets, they fly.
Yeah.
They skim and they'll drop and they'll lay down retardant. Unfortunately, especially with these inversions we've been seeing on the daily, that heavy smoke, they just can't fly. Like those are federal regulations. They're restricted by.
No, and I understand that side of the equation. I'm just thinking that for every day those machines haven't been able to operate, how much further has the ground operations been hampered, I guess, for lack of a better word?
Well, luckily, the times they haven't been able to operate, we do have a very healthy fleet.
You got an army.
We have an army, as has been said a few times,
Okay.
and supported by the rotary wing assets. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Senator.